think so.
Oh, I think so, too.
Good evening, John.
You know, it's working well enough that we can probably do this.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
RADIO, as in your two-way radio. Let's see, adjust the windscreen here. There isn't much wind going on. It's a very warm, not quite summer day here in the Central Valley, Central California. The Old Tube Radio Network. I don't know if anybody is in the radio room tonight. They're probably all out at the barbecue, and I don't blame them. But if you are, you could possibly be listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, Channel 11 through the skip, which is right now New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii, and who knows where else, as opposed to, I don't know where it is normally. And the local stations will be checking in the shortwave listeners, and more importantly, we'll be checking in those tube radios coming up after the roll call, so stick with us. 27085, Channel 11, oldtuberadio.net for audio and video, and there's a video thing going on right now, I think, over on some YouTube item of interest. My name is Dennis, net control for the evening on the Old Tube Radio Network, a gathering of stations, like-minded stations, who want to promote the use and distribute information about old tube radios on your 11-meter citizen band radio service, something we've been doing since the mid-1980s. We've added some audio and video, but the tube radios are always there, and we'll be chatting with them coming up. So don't go away. First, let me grab the roll call list. Those playing the home game are looking for the 14th day of May 2022. I've got the seersucker suit ready to go. I'll do a little adjustment of the tie, the pocket protector, which I will populate with our pen of the week, which is around here somewhere. And we are looking for a 00, and that is, who is our 00? It's SWL 102, John in Arkansas, who is probably out there somewhere. Ah, yes, and John reminds us, remember when the NBC radio announcer chimed the xylophone at the opening of the radio program? We need our own little OTR. The NBC chime was, for those of you who are musically inclined, the notes G, E, and C. So try that. I don't have a device here, but try that on your guitar, your piano. G, E, C. And that's because the NBC, the National Broadcasting Company, was owned by none other than General Electric Corporation. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Well, there's no O, and there's no T, and there's no R. So maybe we'll have to figure out what might do that. The best we've got... Yeah, the best we've got is a honking proboscis. John, thanks for that thought. And I think someone's brought that up before, and I'll have to go back in the archives. Maybe we do have an OTR chime. I just don't know. Thanks for checking in.
Break OTR.
And break OTR. Go ahead, please.
Dennis, can you do me an early check-in, please? I got to run to Sanger and go babysit some prom kids.
I will do that. In fact, I'll give you the second early check-in. So go do that stuff. Yeah, that's right. It is prom night, prom things happening, people graduating. It is that kind of evening. So we'll try and keep it safe and sane. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, for Dennis. Everybody have a great one. I'll see you all next week.
And we will get SWL1 checked in. Likewise, SWL number 2, who I believe is possibly still out at the video side chat. I think our sunspot numbers have risen back into just over 100, although at least for 10 and 11 meters, the band was a little weak 20 meters has been good, 24 hours a day. The other band's doing quite well. So you got to listen and make your own conditions. Just because the chart says the band is closed, it doesn't necessarily mean it is, and we've proven that many times here on the 11-meter band. They're looking for SWL3. I've got a note to check in Rob, which I will do.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead, over.
Dennis, sorry to interrupt. This is Tony, 145. Can I get an early check-in? I'm leaving. I go out of town tomorrow morning, and I need to get some things squared away tonight, so I'd appreciate an early check-in.
Hey, Tony, no problem. Have a good time on your trip. Get everything together, and hopefully you got. I know you were asking for some help there on the Friday morning, so I'll listen in to see what's going on with that. But we do have you checked in, and we will look for you in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, I'll be on Echolink the next couple Saturdays. I'll be on Echolink.
All right, yeah, I'll have it up and running. We'll have one of the either Me Direct or the Echo link. It is actually right now, what are we up? We're up on the 94860 link right now. So, all right, we'll look for you there. Thanks for checking in.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Have a great show.
Okay, and also get, let's see, Uncle Hairball checked in. He wants an early check-in as well. So we'll get to you when you're there. So if you need to go away and do important stuff, please do so. Direct and net roll calls where we are at. The tube radios will be coming up. All right, we jump over all the way up to SWL7.
SWL7 checking in.
All right, you are sounding good. Hopefully there is not the usual static, but, you know, but it is what it is, right?
Oh, there you go. And now we have some mariachis just a couple doors down going really loud.
Oh, yeah, it's the, what is it, the what do you call it, prom night, graduation things going on, so we will see what happens. All right, thanks for checking in.
Yeah, thank you, and have a good day.
Okay, let me see where we are going. I'll keep it going here. I want to get to the radios tonight. Again, I don't know. I don't know who's going to be in the Radio Shack tonight. It's still, as you can see, it's still daylight outside. We're just coming to the gray line. A little bit of breeze, probably 84 degrees outside. It's a perfect time to be doing stuff, including radio. Let's go to SWL10. I'm looking, yeah, okay. With no conditions, I see it, Dwayne. We'll get 10 and 30 checked in. If you have conditions, no doubt you will be hearing the likes of New Zealand, Australia, and Hawaii. That's what we were hearing around here. I heard DD21 talking to New Zealand on Old Radio Night. The backscatter is in. There was reports of Motormouth Mall coming in through sort of the E-skip, short hop, whatever you want to call it, backscatter down on Channel 6. So could be an interesting night tonight. We got you and Chrissy checked in. Over to SWL 13. Mike, if you're watching, I did get you last week. I know you came in a little bit late, but not a problem there. We will always check the comments and see who is out there listening and get them checked in, whether it's Facebook or whatever. Then we skip over to, or up to SWL 16, and I gave an early check-in to Charlie. He was here early, as usual, as we were tuning things up. Got everything up and running in record time, doing a little DXing on listening, SWLing on 20 meters and 40 meters, and WWV was coming in on 15 and 10, so all is well. So we were, like he says, we're going to try and keep it that way. Yes, we are. All right, we got you checked in. Over to SWL 17. SWL 18. Get a check-in for Mikey. I don't think he is in Facebook jail, so get him checked in. Yeah, Charlie, we are tuned and tweaked as of 8:11 Pacific Daylight Time. Everything looks good. Let me put on some Let me put on some pictures for the SWLs listening in on. Do I have anything else I can turn on that looks like that's in the screen? Well, we'll see. The producers of the net here like it when there's all sorts of glitz going on. That way they don't have to focus on me. Let's go to SWL19. Chet is doing the cue cards tonight. So we'll see what we got. Right now, it's just the roll call. And he's really good at holding those numbers up in order. I'm just not very good at knowing which numbers are supposed to be there. Hope all is doing good in Derby tonight. Over to SWL20. I will get Harvey checked in. He is away from the microphonium, but he could be listening in, and I have a feeling that he might be stopping by a little bit later on if he actually gets into the Radio Shack. Who's in tonight? Up in the balcony, San Francisco, Florence, Kentucky, Dallas, Georgia will be coming to you. Hello to Kerman. Hello to Inez, Kentucky. The unknown SWLs, as always. Woodland Park, Colorado. The beams are focused. The Squamish Boys in the mezzanine tonight. There's extra room if you just want to stay right there with the equipment. Don't have to head up to the balcony. Hello to San Francisco, Byesville, Ohio. Manhattan Beach, Fish Camp, Louisville, Kentucky, in the orchestra pit tonight. You must have the special, Louisville's got the special card. I think he pulled it out of, what is it? Pulled it out of the gum wrapper. It says, sit wherever you want. And right up here in front. All right, good seat. Direct and net roll call. Oh, let's see what Old Radio Night is doing. I think it's still on. I'm going to bring up the audio. In the orchestra pit. Yeah. Old Radio Night still on. I'm going to get a picture here. I'm going to try and get a picture of. Oh, and it's not there. It should be of the Regency range gain 2. Let me see if I can get the range gain 2. It should be right here. Here we go. All right. Oops, no, that's got to be right there. Then I got to bring the audio. Now, sometimes this technology thing leaves a bit to be desired. So what happened to my audio picture? It's showing the magic eye.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to key down and let Dennis hear me out there so it won't be any back.
Yeah, there it is.
Hello out there, everybody. SWL 21, wishing everybody a good weekend on the Old Tube Radio Network. SWL 21 in South Carolina. We stand by.
All right, perfect. Now, I just wish I had the picture to go along with it, and I'm still looking for the right. Okay, it should be this one right here. This is, again, I wanted to, before we go, I want to get a shot of the radio. There it is. That is what Old Radio Night is beaconing on tonight. It's basically a Regency Imperial without the sideband. That is the Regency Range Gain 2. Good and good stuff. Thanks for the shout out. We heard you great. Old Radio Night still going on. So put one ear on Old Radio Night and the other one on Old Tube Radio Network, and you will definitely go crazy. Let's go to SWL 22. Get 21 checked and 22. SWL 23. Let me see if 23's could do us in tonight. Sometimes people pop in and I miss them on the bulletin board, as it were. So I will keep an eye out. My guess is that 23's could do is probably in one of those executive meetings, trying to make sure that nefarious things don't happen to the Old Tube Radio Network and that we have our beaconing beacons. So let me get Mitch and the gang over there checked in as well. Let's go to SWL 24.
24, check it in.
SWL 24, thank you, Joseph, for jumping into the Old Tube Radio Network. Over to SWL 25. And I got a note to get 25 and 74 checked in. I think he is out at the up on the stage tonight playing some music, which is a good thing. Maybe we'll have to do that. We'll have to bring them live into the green room, and that way they can get checked in. Heading to page 2. Let's see if we've got 27, Dwayne. Must be good happenings over on FTA tonight. Let's check in up the road a piece in Sacramento with Gary, who is right there checking in poolside while Chonita does a synchronized swim routine by herself. Look at her half flail as she scores a 10. Well, at least the Sacramento judge scores a 10. The Roseville judge and the Grass Valley judge both got 9, so not a bad thing. All right, being poolside is a great place to be, Gary. So just, like I said, just keep the coax and the power cords routed around the other side, and everything will be good. Got a proxy check in for SWL 29. SWL 30 listening in. The radios are up and running. The antennas are pointed this way, but as he mentioned, at least no conditions here to the Central Valley of California. Over to SWL 31. SWL 32. Shortwave listener 33, myself, Bozo Control, and to all the gang here that runs in and out of the green room. Also going to check in for Robert out there in, I think near Las Vegas. And Robert, all right, well, take care. Do what the doctor says for the upcoming surgery on Thursday. So yeah, you'll be out. You'll be ready to go for the Old Tube Radio Network. We will have a spot for you. If you can't make it in on the posted, you can always tune us in at oldtuberadio.net. So we know you will. We know you are up and ready to go, and will come through just fine. So we'll look for you next week. SWL 34, Jimmy, Railroader, and Little Toot be coming in there shortly. 23 Skidoo. Okay, the time travel, there is a big delay. If you've ever done moon bounds, or in this case, I think we're doing, I think Mitch is doing Mars bounds. I can't quite tell from the language. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, wing, wang, walla, walla, bing, bang is what it says. So that could be Martian. Doing some time traveling. So just like what happened earlier, when we check in with old radio night, there's always that, am I listening to what happened in the past, or is that the future? I never know. And I think 23 Skidoo is in that same time warp. All right, Mitch, we've got you checked in. Let me bring up the 23 item to prove it. Yeah, no, please do not hit the rewind button. Over to shortwave listener 35. Reports of Mr. Bill jumping in on the 2-meter side here on some of the fusion rooms or DMR rooms. I think Mr. Bill's got every flavor of radio to get in, and my guess is we will be hearing him right here on 11 meters when the band opens up. Looking good from Cheyenne, Wyoming tonight. Over to SWL 36. I'm starting to hear the skip coming in, so if I'm hearing it, I know they're hearing it up in the hills. Let's go to SWL 37.
SWL 37 here, Dennis, and I think he was trying to check in. You catch that, Dennis?
Yeah, I was listening to see if he was talking to anyone local here.
Okay.
Oh, there's Mad Max, the pilot trying, man, you can get up here. Mad Max, the hippopotamus, come on.
We got a Mad Max, a hippopotamus, and who knows what else. Chris, you are checked in, and we'll check in. We'll check in the mini grass, Australia, New Zealand. We'll see who comes in tonight. Thanks for checking in.
All right, might be hollering at an angry kangaroo.
Well, all I know is if his boomerang doesn't come back, it's not our fault. Let's try SWL 38. And I don't think we have that short skip conditions, but Sam always gives it a try. I mean, he's out there listening. If anything's going to happen, 38 would know. Let's try SWL 39. All right, yeah, Mad Max checking in 166. I don't know where he's checking in, but he's been checked in. And who said, what does SWL stand for? Asking for a friend. I know that friend. The shortwave listeners, the SWLs. Our listeners, some might have radios. You don't need to have a radio to jump into the old tube radio network. Certainly not. SWL 40. And I talked to 40 earlier on the crossband. He said make sure to check him in, and I'll do that. SWL 41, 507 right there, of course, from the Hudson Valley, New York, Hudson Valley CB Radio Club, saying a good evening to everyone, and a good evening it is. SWL 42. SWL 43. I got to check in for 43. SWL 44. I got a proxy check in for 44. Paul, I'll try it. I know it's rough out there. If you can hear me, Paul, SWL 45. Hello, radio.
45, check it is. Can you hear me?
Hey, Paul, 45. You are sounding good. I've got you, Paul. No problem. Over. Yeah, if SWL stood for some want linears, there would probably be a whole bunch. A whole bunch more than what we have. You just never know. Go to SWL 46. SWL 47. Shortwave listener 48. Here's a station I talked to earlier, sounding good. It's like 10 over 9. SWL 49, if you're listening there, Smitty, I will get you and Sweet Country Mama checked in. Over.
All right, well, yes, we are here, SWL 49er and Sweet Country Mama. Nice to hear you tonight, checking in on the off-grid solar-powered radio station here. So if the shizzy ever hits the fizzy, we'll still be able to make some emergency wideband, high-fidelity emergency contacts there. Wishing everyone a great evening, and as always, thank you very much for the net, Dennis.
All right, sounding good. Good audio, and the solar panels are working even as the sun sets in the west. I need to do that here so we can have OTR no matter what. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks again.
Over to shortwave listener 50. SWL 50. SWL 51. I did see Dave there in Sanger checking in on the big board a little bit earlier, so I will get the 305. I want to say the 502. 305 51. You are checked in. Over to SWL 52. And SWL 53.
Yeah, good evening, Dennis. 53, the legend checking in from the east side of Fresno. I hope you're doing good. Check.
Doing well, making a good trip from the east side. The west side is no competition for you. Sounding good.
Thank you very much.
Old Tube Radio Network. Let's see, who's out watching us tonight on the items? Cornbread, I forget to not check in Cornbread. Sometimes I notice, and I've got him checked in 6 times, so I'm unchecking at least 3 of the Cornbread check-ins. Let's see, who else is? Echo 148. Hello, good greeting, old radio friends. 148 in Arkansas. Good deal, Eric D. That sounds like one of those AM radio guys from the 1960s. This is Eric D. All right, well, Eric D is here on his radio and getting ready to fire up the tubes, sounding good. Who else is joining us tonight? Uncle Hairball be coming to you, looking good on old radio night tonight for sure. Sean is in. Oh, he's the one that you're the one that mentioned Motormouth coming in from Sanger on Channel 6. I didn't go down there. I've heard him before on sort of backscatter coming through, but usually the conditions have to be pretty good. And he has turned the beams this way trying to get in, so I suspect we will have an MMM sighting on the Old Tube Radio Network at some point. 666 Carolina, Isaiah, thanks for joining us tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. Private Thor, all right. Up there, you guys are in the mezzanine tonight. Charlie is in from Goose Creek, Triple X from Goose Creek, South Carolina. And Kenny, I see it. We'll get you checked in. And like they say, a host of others. Rusty Rails from Old Radio Night, Central Arkansas, tuning into the Old Tube Radio Network. Echo 01 10-4. Yeah, 10-4, Roger, and all of that looking good. Steve Dodge is in the house tonight. Pointing the beam this way. I don't think, unless you take a boat to Australia, we're probably not going to make it, but we will see what happens. And Neil just checking in now. So continuing on, we got to check in for SWL 54, and let's see if SWL 55 is out there. Let's go over to SWL 56.
56, just for kicks.
56 is in. Thank you, Phil. Looking good. And you know what? My APRS, when I rebooted the computer, it didn't come back up. So I don't know who's on. I think my beacon is turned on. It's on the other side. I think that's what that noise is coming in the background. Normally I turn it off because it creates a bunch of noise. But anyway, got you checked in. You are looking good. Let's get back to the list here. Over to SWL 57, right there. Brown Dog Audio checking in. Oh, unplugged right now because of lightning. We just don't get the kind of lightning here in the Central Valley of California like you all get out there. So I understand that even if you're grounded and phased and whatever, you really do want to unplug things because it can get kind of nasty. So, good deal. Says the skip has been rolling in all day. Looking forward to planting flowers with the XYL. It is that time. I guess there's no frost tomorrow. Hope you've got some good stuff. And, you know, there's an art to that. You can plant flowers, and then you can plant flowers so that they're all stacked the right way and the colors match. And I guess if you want to attract butterflies or birds, you got to know which ones to plant. So definitely an art. Listen to the XYL. I bet she knows what to do and get some color around the shop. That's what I need. I don't have any plants. Well, you know what? We add color by adding radios. So we'll do it that way. All right. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 58. Checking Jeremy in. I think he was beaconing through on some of the ditch banks nets on the 2-meter side. Rumor has it that he's still working on the big tower, the big antenna, the big station. So speaking of big station, there's another station I expect to be possibly beaconing in by happenstance here direct on the Old Tube Radio Network. Uncle Hairball in the house. I don't know what house. You may get kicked out. You may be in the wrong house, but he's in the house somewhere. Got 59 checked in. Thank you there, Uncle Hairball. SWL 60.
Thank you, Dennis. Hope I can get through all that trash out there. Well, not exactly trash, but anyway, SWL 60 checking in. Good evening, fellas.
And good evening. Yeah, I was kind of dragging my feet there just to make sure they're not trying to check in here. It's hash. There's hash and trash. I think tonight we've got a little bit of the hash. Hopefully none of the trash. You're sounding good.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, looking good. 133 is in out there in beautiful Pismo Beach. Usually when it's 85 and 90 here in the Central Valley, Pismo and Morro and, Arroyo, whatever, I've got clouds. They've got the June gloom and all that stuff. Anyway, put the beams on the side, on the back side, and we'll listen for you on backscatter here. Apparently they were hearing John. They're in here in MMM on Channel 6 here in the Central Valley a couple hours ago, so you just never know. Let's go to SWL 61. Hello, 61. And I'm going to get Dino checked in. He'll probably stop by. I'm sure he's having trouble hearing me with all the skip. And Uncle Hairball is in the house. He's in his house, so that's the best house to be in. And when you build it, you know where the secret door is. You know where the secret trap door is, so you'll never get kicked out. Let's go to SWL 62. All the way up there in North Dakota, King Duckford is in the green room. Yeah, okay. Yeah, join us in the green room. There's always good stuff. We'll find out in a minute what's going on when we join Bob and Steve. Thank you there, KD. Over to SWL 63. SWL 64. Shortwave listener 65. Speaking of Channel 6, I have not heard Mr. Witch Doctor beaconing on the bowl for a while. SWL 66. Yeah, I think the Echo link, what are we linked up? We're on the, we're not on the link, we're just on the link. 94860, I think is the link number. Let's go to SWL 67. Bill and Canby, got you checked in. Over to SWL 68. New York 157, Michael. Not quite in with us yet. Boston chucking in there on the, coming through the balcony door. I see you up there. Just in time, no doubt. SWL 69, Kenny was in listening earlier on the Universal Media NetWeb. Kenny, if you're still in there, we've got you checked in. If you're watching the replay, you know what? We've still got you checked in. It's as easy as that. BDA, the Jingle Singers told him that they would that they're going to be having frog legs on the buffet this week. I don't know. That's sort of a clandestine thing, but I haven't found them yet. So I don't know if that's he hasn't found the Jingle Singers, or if he hasn't found the frog on the little wheeled cart. I don't know. maybe that's a delicacy thing. I don't know. I don't get into that, but let us know if you find something. Over to SWL 70. Mark is still working on antennas. I will get Mark checked in. SWL 71. Where did I see Stan? He's on the video side checking in.
OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead, over.
Yes,
it is noisy once again. What's up with that? You are sounding good, and 61, we got you checked in. Over.
Thank you, Jess. You have a good evening. Have a nice show, buddy.
All right, we will. Got 61 checked in, so let's go. It's easy to do. We'll go from 71 up to 61. Back over to 71. I know there was a contest going on, but I don't know what it was. I just heard somebody on 20 saying CQ contest, but I'm not sure what it was. And Stan, I got you. I saw you on the page. I got you checked in. Oh, and it looks like we may be up on the Echo link. We'll try that out here before we go to the tube radios. SWL 72. SWL 73. Got a proxy check in for SWL 74. Staying up late, as always, Smarty Jones out there in New York, waving a hand to everybody. SWL 75. John says, Miss Piggy. Now, that's what happened. Miss Piggy came in and rescues those frogs. Because, you know, it ain't easy being green. And that is definitely correct. All right, well, there you go. You'll have to, we'll see what's going on in the green room. So if you didn't get the frog legs, I'm sure we're going to have something just as, what should I say, interesting. Over to SWL 76. Shortwave listener 77. Was there a break for OTR? I heard somebody in there. Who's the break for OTR?
SWL 75.
All right, SWL 75, Patrick. I hear you. I hear you through the noise. If you can hear OTR, over. All right, Mr. Scrambler, SWL 75, and I'll be like Skipland. I'll go 75, 75, 75. I've got you checked in, Patrick. It is good to hear you. You always know there is a place to be on Saturday night. Thanks for stopping by. Over.
All right, well, thank you for always being here. And like the news, all the guys out there.
All right, it's good to hear you. The signal is a little bit down, and we've got skip going on, but you are definitely in and checked in on your old tube radio network. Thanks. All right, good to hear Mr. Scrambler, Patrick. He's been on our list for years and years and years. Knows that the place to be on Saturdays is right here on the old tube radio network. So Foxman 362, channel surfing on Skipland. What is this big skip channel tonight? It's probably 11. It's usually 11 and 6 and 28, but I don't know. Could be anywhere. This is the type of skip that just kind of floats in. Let's go over to, let's see, let me call 77 again. SWL 78. SWL 79. SWL 80. And before we turn the page, let's see what is happening with Bob and Steve here.
27.085 OTR channel 11.
Whoopee. All right. Wow, they're having, sound like a big rainstorm. I think that was some bleed through from the other frequency. So what is going on? What is the episode tonight? I think it's 115, May 14th. Bob and Steve, as always, making sure that those who experience the old tube radio network have a good time doing it and want to come back. Lots of popcorn in the balcony. It looks like it's in the balcony and on the balcony tonight, but that's okay. We have those little scoopy things to pick up the popcorn if it falls down, and I don't know, maybe there's I don't think Charlie Alpha Tango, I don't think he likes he doesn't eat the popcorn like that, so that's okay. What are we doing? Bob and Steve, let me go back to the script. I'm making Chet put the cards back. He always thought I read that. No, you gotta flip the card back because I'm messing up here. All right, thanks. Okay, lots of popcorn in the balcony tonight. Please, no throwing the popcorn at net control during the program. After is okay. And I put on my funny hat. I put on the goggles, and you can throw the popcorn. It gets kind of fun, actually. The popcorn on the floor. The kitty is licking the salt off. Yeah, and the butter too. I think they use real butter. None of that fake stuff. So you don't want to eat the popcorn on the floor. Anywhere else is good. The Wednesday night poker is still a great success. So if you're not in the church choir, come on over and play poker with us. The house gets a 2% cut off the winnings. Is that it? I thought it was more like 200%. It keeps the Costco card balance of 0. Wow, we must have a lot of good players to help us out, but that's good. Pool hours have been moved from noon until 10 p.m. At noon, it was almost 80 degrees here, and there was a line waiting at the pool. 10 p.m., I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's always packed, so, if you have to wait around, not a problem. We've got plenty of things to do. We have a Heathkit model GW12 one-channel CB radio set up in the green room lounge. It's on that little, metal card table. Perfect. It's sort of this 60 card table with the Super Regen receiver. So what happens is, if you want to talk on, say, channel 22 with that Super Gen receiver, you got to wait when I'm not talking, because all you will hear is me when I'm keyed up. But that's Super Regen for you. But it's cool, and it is yours to take a transmission on. Maybe you can even check in if I don't blow up the front end. At the bar tonight, Jamestown Tavern, 1779. That was a good year. From Freeport, Maine, the finest seafood in the world. And speaking of seafood, if you see food, you eat food. And, of course, you do not want to forget to feed the fish.
27.0850 TR Channel 11.
All right, letting the tubes cool down. I'll be right back. Page 4 is where we're at, the direct-to-net roll call, the Old Tube Radio Network. Here at 27085, a little bit of skip land, tube radios coming up. It should be a good time looking for, let's see, we got to check in for, I got to find my list. It's way over here. We got to check in for SWL81, and we are looking for SWL82.
82, checking in from the ditch banks of Biola. Good evening.
Boy, pulling me out of all the noise and the skip land. I was just about ready to proxy you in, but there you are at the microphonium. And a shout out to Ron, who does a great job on the Ditch Banks sideband net. I was actually able to check in last night, and there was a few down under check-ins. That's Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, lower sideband on 27.365. 36 lower. There's a check-in, and everyone is welcome to key. Now, on sideband run, do you key up or do you key down?
Oh, man, that could be a trick question. I key it up to key it down, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that's how we roll.
All right, sounds good. You key up and you get down, and then you key up. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. We'll have to talk to Motormouth Mall about that. Thanks for checking in.
All right, now off to go see SWL 25 Jerry playing tonight at the Longhorn, Shields and Gratling. We'll see you.
All right, good deal. I figured he was out doing his thing, so we got him and Miss Jilly checked in, and I know it's always a good show. He's actually been on TV. I think they did some opening acts for Kopi on Channel 26, so big thing. Make sure you get his autograph.
Roger.
Let's go to SWL 83. SWL 84. I'll get Jerry and all the gang checked in. Talk to him again on 40 meters. And I'm not sure what he was on. If he was on the Drake or the Swan, but it always sounds good when he's got the item in there. So we've got 84 checked in, 86 checked in, 87 and 88. So Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl. Speaking of popcorn, hello to Popcorn 913. If anybody knows popcorn, if anybody knows how to put butter on popcorn, it's got to be 913. Let's go over to SWL 89. SWL 90. SWL 91. Felix is in. Beaconing, as they say, beaconing from the Bronx with a check-in and a high five for net control and everybody else, all the net control and the SWLs right here on your old tube radio network. Thank you, Felix, for tuning in here on Saturday evenings. Over to SWL 92. And who is that? Sam? I see you, Sam. 38. No conditions. But we've got you checked in with no problem. 38 is in. Over to SWL 93. Shortwave listener 95. I do believe I saw 95. Warthog 95 is beaconing in from Orlando, Florida. I've been hearing Florida really well in the late evening, or the early to late evenings on 40 meters. I have yet to try to get a contact. I may try Mal. He's out there in Hollywood, Florida. I'm hearing him pretty good, but my antenna is just pretty wimpy. But that'd be a pretty good shot here on 40 from Central Cal out to Florida. Let's go up to Kerman, SWL 96. SWL 97, speaking of Boston, Jim is right there checking in on the old tube radio network. Looking good. Oh, and guess who is here? Let me go back up to 34. Staying up late, jumping into the radio room, and it's gone. All right. The official and train was. So let me see if I can do it here just without practice. I've not been practicing my train whistles, and it's going to show. Here we go. 34, little toot, Jimmy. And that is definitely. Why we mess up the limiters with that. That's definitely a little toot. I don't have my special effects. If I turn them on, it definitely helps. So 34 is checked in, and thanks, Jimmy, for putting all the good stuff up on the old tube CB Radio Network page and all those other pages you do. I was looking at Toby's shack he's working on. It's really good. He's putting tables and shelves and monitors and soundproofing and everything else out there in Kansas. 97 is checked in. Here's a guy I talked to last night briefly on the Ditchbanks sideband at SWL 98. Tracy. I got you checked in. Thanks. Yeah, you were sounding pretty good. I was hearing you okay on the sideband. I know you got noise over there and don't hear me too well, but sometimes, that's what happens when you're a Midtown mud dog. SWL 99, SWL 100, 100. That's Tony. I'm seeing it. Sometimes he jumps in on the Echo link. The guy that's got us started off is 00, SWL 102 on the 2-for-1 check-in. Thank you, John, for number 2. And the band is starting to open up again. See, as we're getting out of gray line, somebody else is getting in. SWL 103. If you can't hear right now, I mean, you never know. You just keep listening and jump in when you can. We're here till at least 10 o'clock or so for check-ins. And Eric D, we should have Eric do the whistle. He says he's been a conductor since 2002. Unless you wave a baton. I don't know what kind of conducting you're doing, but obviously you'd have a better Q-toot on the horn than I would there. Let's go up to Auberry for SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Cronad 109 checking in.
All right, thanks for pulling me out of the mud. I know there's all sorts of skip land coming in, so thanks for being patient. You are sounding good here into Midtown, and 109's got the X in the square. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
All right, big signal out of Auberry, beaconing through the noise. Let's go over to SWL 110. Up there in Millerton, I was listening to Mike Stahl, the M-squared guy up in Friant last night on 20 meters, on 40 meters, and just that guy talks everywhere with that antenna farm. SWL 111, Robert checked in earlier on somewhere. I saw you, Robert, on the page, so we got you checked in. Next is SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
114, hello, Wayne Rickshaw. I've got the X in the square. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
And I see Reedley in the balcony. If that's you, Robert, we got you checked in. If you want to give it a shot, it's still pretty noisy out there, so... coming up to SWL 128, John is right there on top of the page from Fairfax, Virginia. Beaconing in out there in Foreland. Thanks, John, as always, for stopping by, staying up late. The Old Tube Radio Network out in the radio. Putting one ear to the Old Tube Radio Network in the radio room. There's probably some other stuff going on there as well. The Squamish boys up in the balcony. All right, they moved everything from the mezzanine up to the balcony. Oh, I see what you did. You left some popcorn down there, so we can get popcorn. If you want popcorn, this is the place to be. It's just, I tried it, what was it, a couple weeks ago? I cannot eat popcorn on the air and talk. It just doesn't work. So that's why they wait till after the net to throw it at me. Let's go over to SWL 131. Shortwave listener 133. SWL 135.
SWL 135 checking in.
135 checking in and sounding good. We've got you with the X. Over.
Whatever happened to the report from Minkler?
You know, I think that was Bozo Control that would go out with the portable walkie-talkie with the larger-than-life telescopic rod antenna and try not to bend it when he was going around that curve, which I think they fixed. I think they fixed 180 where you went through that farm and get the update on Minkler. Well, as you know, I think Minkler, in the time we've done that, which was probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago, they sold Minkler. I don't know who owns it, and I have a feeling they're not real radio-friendly.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did anybody ever buy it? Wasn't it up for like $6 million or something like that? And I never did hear if anybody bought it.
Yeah, it was for sale on, I don't know, eBay, YouTube, somewhere. And I don't know. That's worth a Google search to see what's happening. Maybe it's been totally developed. I just don't know. We haven't had the Minkler report. We haven't done a lot of things we used to do. And that's probably a good thing.
Now, the metropolis of Minkler. Oh, we'll have to find out. Okay, see you in a bit.
Okay, when we start glowing in the dark, thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 137. SWL 145, Tony checked in earlier. He'll be joining us on the Echo Link in the next couple of weeks or so. Which is good. He always does a good job on the Echo Link. And let's see, who else am I missing here tonight? Squiddy down south, Hippopotamus checking in from Australia. All right, now if that is the station we heard earlier, you're on the replay. We've definitely got the Squiddy and the Hippopotamus, Australia, and there was some other stations in there as well checking in. So thanks for joining us here on the Old Tube Radio Network, and we'll listen. I don't have as good ears as Ron does on the Friday Night Net, where a lot of you all come in and check in, and we enjoy that. So don't be shy and give us a shout here.
Right back, and check me in there, 166-40 Big Island,
all right, in the Big Island, the Little Island, Gilligan's Island, we check in everybody. What I'm doing is I'm trying to see, I think I had a blog from 147 earlier, but I'm not finding it. So I will. Oh, there it is. Neil Kakalaki's checking in. He's been busy, so he hasn't had the radios on. I know how that is. It's been like that all week for me. Don't know about the East Coast conditions. Hope it's been good on our end. Not bad. It's not bad all the way around. It was light today. I thought maybe with the sunspots and triple digits we'd be getting a bit more, but as you can hear, we are definitely getting some items in now. And Levon is in as well. Hello there. Okay, let's keep on going. I got Neil 147. Let's see if Bobby is in. He might be roading around the dial, doing some skip land. SWL 188.
Good evening time, Dennis. I was out prowling around a little earlier. I did talk to Hippo and talk to New Zealand and Showtime in Hawaii. Good evening time to all.
All right, sounding good. Rumors had it that Motormouth Mall was beaconing across the valley here on Super Bowl VI. Some stations in Selma heard him, so you just never know. He might make an appearance here, and we'll let you guys have at it. The big guns. Anyway, thanks for checking in.
10-4, good evening time.
All right, I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I can make it up to Course Gold through all the noise, SWL 195.
195 checking in, Dennis. You're definitely making it up here. Sounds good.
All right, not bad for a station that doesn't have all those extra wattage, but I've got a lot of people that have good receivers. Thanks, Jim, for tuning in.
Thank you, Dennis.
And Uncle Hairball, 73 to you. You've got a stereo installed tomorrow. So I got that cheap stereo installed. I only got the left speaker. I realized you had to pay extra to get the right speaker, so I'm sure you will do both, and that sounds good. So get some sleep so you can make sure that you do both the left and the right speaker, and maybe even more in between. You know, they have more than left and right these days. Let's see if Shockwave is out, SWL 226. All right, and there's Hippo. Everybody's checking in. All right, I think anybody else, I'll listen in. I'm going to set up for the tube radios. It's 9 o'clock. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we'll just check in the radios and whoever else wants to do it on your old tube radio network. All right, yeah, he's on the YouTube. He's listening in. If you're listening to the audio, you can hear how it's going here in Central California. On those vertical antennas. All right, we'll be back. We'll leave the audio up and jump back in a couple minutes for the tube radios, OTR.
I'm getting that. Danny, good Got it all down 400. Just passing saying, how do you do it on a 400? I got you down. Bye, bye, bye. Danny, got it all down 400. Worldwide hippopotamus, you're definitely making the trip, my friend. Worldwide hippopotamus with that great big mouth and modulation. 28 Philly, Fresno, California, making the trip. Big break. Got you down.
All right, sorry about the delay. I think I took the long way around for sure. This is your Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, sometimes it is a long way. It's just a long way to get into the air chair, but everybody's having a good time here. I don't know if anybody's going to be on the radio tonight. They're all out by the pool, over in the green room. The limo is busy, helping out some of the college kids for prom night and doing the things it always does here on the Old Tube Radio Network. So we're glad that you are able to join us. It is tube time. Speaking of joining us, I think Charlie Alpha Tango has stopped by. I don't know for how long. Says, all right, he's finding a comfortable spot there. He is hanging on. We went to the vet, and he is an old cat. And so we're hoping he can stick around. We'll see what happens. But anyway, he wants to join us here tonight for a little bit, and that is a good thing. Speaking of joining us tonight, I hope you will join us with your tube radios, and I will say this is the Old Tube Radio Network, and we are listening for, I've got the radio list here somewhere. We're listening for radios.
135, 135.
All right, dragging my feet to see if there's anybody out there. Cliff, you might be it tonight. I don't know. It is a quiet evening. Everybody is enjoying themselves, and there's lots of skipping things going on as well. So over to you. Let us know what is going on in Radio Land, and if it's in the Rolodex, we'll put up a picture and we'll talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I got a lot of noise over here, so I don't know if other people are suffering from it too. I have to listen to the replay and see what your noise is like, but it's bad over here. It's like about S8 worth of noise. Slipped off the microphone. I think I fixed my microphone problem. I just cleaned the contacts on the leaf springs, and it seems to be operating better. Okay, this is possibly from Clifton, New Jersey. It is the Polycom Senior 23 by Polytronics Labs. 14 tubes and all 23 channels here in one box. And this is the Polytronics Hand Mic. Actually, I'm not sure who makes these things, because I've seen these on Collins gear and all sorts of other radios too. It's a big, heavy metal microphone. And the tag on the back says Polytronics Laboratories, but like I say, I've seen these on a lot of different radios. I'm not sure who makes them.
Well, yeah, probably like you mentioned, one of the big manufacturers, and then you I guess, taste it up to whether it's high impedance, low impedance, and the plug of your choice. I am going, let me see if I can get a closer, here we go, closer shot of the Polycom Senior 23. Top of the line for Polycom. And let me put in the Rolex. We got a lot of stuff here on the Rolodex. 1962 to 1963. So this was the era of the Helicopter CB3A, the early Brownings, the R27. No, not the R27. The S9, 23S9, the R27. And I'm not sure what Tram was doing. The TRC, this might even be before that, but the same TRC5. So original price in 1962 was $369.63, $349.50. So this is a very expensive radio. $350.62 was top of the line. I think that's even more than you'd end up paying for the Browning combination. So it says it's the first 23-channel, all-crystal-controlled citizen band transceiver using frequency synthesizing circuitry built in tone filter for selective calling. Oh, we'll talk about that. S-meter and output indicator also serves as a PA system. Interesting. Come on back. The Senior 23. Take a transmission.
Okay, I'll just let the explosions go by here. We're out here in the CB Cabana, where lots of people are making noise tonight for some reason. Like I said, must be some parties going on. What can I say about this thing? Yeah, it's got an awful lot of knobs and an awful lot of stuff on here. One of which, of course, is the polycall, the spring-loaded switch. If I switch it to the left, it will produce a tone like that. If I switch it to the right, you won't hear anything, but then neither will I. But it locks into the right position to await the proper tone to unlock the squelch. I don't have that unit. It's an external unit, plugs into a big complicated plug in the back. And it'd be really neat to find one of those, but I've never seen one. But I can at least make noise with it. CQ. I can do anything with that I want. Or it acts as a Roger beep.
If you do it right. All right, though, so this is all the General Radio Telephone MC5 that had the Q-Bird, and that was also 62 and 63. And I wonder if in future Polycoms, I don't think they had the built-in tone. I think the FCC frowned on building in the tones to the radio, but like you said, there's another external unit as well, so maybe they just dropped them all together or whatever. But in 62, 63, before the FCC at least told General Radio Telephone they couldn't have it, Polycoms got it as well. That's nice. Let me read some more. I don't want to take too much time, but I do want you to get some transmissions and do any testing that you want. The Polycom Senior 23 transceiver exclusively provides spectromatic tuning, a new frequency synthesizing concept that both transmits and receives over the full range of 23 channels. Enjoy full 23 channel operation without paying extra for additional equipment. The Polycom Senior 23 incorporates every new advanced feature available to the professional communication operator. New features include Polycall Selective Squelch and Ringer. Completely silences the Senior 23 until one of your own units calls you. So has any of your units called you yet?
So far, no. Hope this one's working here. I switched microphones on you. This is the Argonne AR-57. If you've got the picture of my picture of my radio up there, you'll see something that looks something like an RCA 77. This, although it looks like it, it is not a ribbon microphone. This has two, not one, but two crystal elements mounted horizontally, oddly enough, in the housing that you see. And I'm trying to talk in between both of them. Back to you.
All right, I could definitely tell you changed your tone, your timbre. I don't know what we call it, but it definitely doesn't have the low frequencies that it did, but it's got some good high frequency, mid frequency punch. But it sounds, it's more towards the Winchester Cathedral mode. Over.
Okay, I haven't run this in a long time because I don't take this mic into the car with me. It's way too cumbersome to operate mobile. So I thought I'd try to get a record of what this mic sounds like. I haven't hooked it up in a few years, I think. I can switch back to the handheld mic here.
All right, go ahead and switch back to the handheld mic while we are listening fresh. I got the LKFS meter up at about minus 16, and we'll see if it's punchier or better, or I don't know. Go ahead. Oh, and the problem of earlier with the oscillation at the beginning, as you mentioned, has been solved. let's see, we're talking about the tone squelch. It completely silences the senior 23 until one of your own units calls you. The tone ringer activates similar units in the system, controls lights, tape recorders, garage door openers, blows car horns, etc. Night volume control monitors incoming calls at preset volume. Message light remains lighted to notify you that you have been called. Illuminated S meter indicates signal Polycom N CB transceiver for matchless range, now with RF new Vista stage dual conversion superhead circuitry. No wonder it was $360 over.
Oh yeah, this thing, it's got all kinds of hookups in the back. There are, I believe, 10 screw terminals for attaching all manner of crazy things. A PA speaker, a regular external speaker, which are separate contacts, and like you say, all these control things. You can wire up all sorts of stuff to this thing.
That said, it's about opening garage doors and quite fancy. So I think what you said, you had to get the other external units to do that. I wonder how many people actually did something like that, especially if you were in a business or something. Maybe that would work. And again, these were business band radios. You got your call and you had units on that. It would be like KEO 8492 base to unit 3, open the door, and then you'd flip your little tone switch and doors would open and buttons would be pressed and all would be good. So you are back on the teardrop microphonium now?
Yes, sir. This is the regular stock, well, they're both, actually, they're both non-amplified microphones. Yeah, this is the, I think it's aluminum. Here, let me see. Yep, it's aluminum. I got the magnetic mount mic hanger on here so I can test for ferrite containment. And so does this sound any better or what?
It's less, what was one of the SWOs, less crispy. Call it pizza mic, thin and crispy. But I was looking at the LKFS meter, and loudness-wise, they're both about the same. And I think it's because the other one is accentuating a lot of kind of high mid-frequencies that punch out a little bit better. However, for tone quality, this one probably is just has a slight edge. But either of them work quite well over.
Well, that's good to know. I can use either one. Incidentally, I've kept the mic gain on this thing cranked the whole time. If you look where the microphone is plugged in, there are 4 knobs. The one on the lower left is a mic gain knob, which I'll demonstrate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all the way back up again. So that was kind of an interesting feature they put in there. It doesn't seem to give me much gain. I think it's more of a modulation minus rather than a mic gain. What do you think?
Yeah, it's more of a what do they call it, mic attenuator. So they give you full blast and then you go down from there. That's not uncommon. In nighttime, I mentioned about the night volume control monitoring incoming calls, the Polycom N dual conversion. It goes into adjacent channel resection, image rejection better than 3 watts power to 52 to 72 ohm antenna, new Vista RF and mixer stages, so that should have a pretty doggone good receiver in there, assuring you of one of the ultimate in low noise sensitivity and adjustable modulation gain control for 100% modulation regardless of particular voice characteristics. Super sensitive squelch with range control and a variable depth noise limiter. Okay, let's talk about that variable depth noise limiter. So you do have an adjustable noise limiter there?
Yeah, and I've had to use it today too. Ordinarily I just leave it off because the fidelity on these things. Whenever you go to the automatic noise limiters, they tend to pinch up the audio. But there's so much noise, it really does help. The lower right knob, again, if you look at where the microphone plugs in, and those 4 knobs, the lower right knob is on-off ANL, and like I say, fully adjustable. It can make your receive audio worse and worse as you crank it to the right. On that note, too, another interesting feature, sort of interesting anyways, is the Squelch. It's a backward Squelch. As you crank it all the way to the right, the Squelch opens up. As you do it counterclockwise, it squelches. That can always be scary if you don't remember that.
Okay, super sensitive Squelch, a variable depth noise limiter, electronic switching complements, and ensure the ultra-high sensitivity of the Polycom Senior 23. That means, let's see, if you unplug your microphone, you lose your receive?
Yes, sir. I just discovered that as I was switching microphones. I unplugged the microphone and you went away. So I'm sorry I didn't hear you while I was switching the mics out. So I'm guessing, yeah, and I don't hear a relay clacking in there. So is this, does it say electronic keying?
Well, it talks about the super sensitive Squelch with range control and a variable depth noise limiter and electronic switching complement, and ensure the ultra-high sensitivity of the Polycom Senior 23. So maybe it has something to do with not having a relay or something. Just one less thing to fail. For both base station and mobile use, the Polycom Senior 23 is precision engineered for the true citizens band perfectionist 23 crystal controls. So yeah, $365. This was up there as probably one of the most expensive radios you could get in 1963 and 2.
Yeah, that was a lot of money back then. That was too much money for a radio. Incidentally, another note here is, you remember last time I checked this in, it was mobile. In the base AC powered configuration, this thing gets really, really hot. Something I'd forgotten about because, let's see, in the mobile it does not get hot. But for some reason, here plugged into the AC, the top of this radio, although there's the whole case, the outer shell anyway, is all perforated metal. So it's got plenty of ventilation, but boy, it still gets hot.
And that's interesting. I don't have a tube complement, but I think you said it was 14 tubes. So a vibrator tube, and it doesn't have sideband, which sometimes takes a product detector, give you 13 tubes. So I'm not sure what they're doing with some extra tubes in there. Maybe they needed some tubes for the tone unit. That's what I'm thinking, or whatever. And since it's built in, that was the extra tubes. All right, we're talking with Cliff, and he's talking on the Polycom Senior 23. This is a radio put out by Polytronics, 1962 to 63, and $350 price range, probably marketed to businesses, cab companies, and somebody, a high-end company that we would spend some money on two-way radio with tons of features. But I guess you could use it if you had lots of vehicles coming and going, buying bread, and things like that. Honey, open the garage door, blah blah. So there you go. It is good. I don't know who designed it. We talked briefly about the little starburst on the channel selector. I guess it was somebody's idea of, trying to get the mid-century modern look, but it sure does sound good. Oh, and we'll do the frequency check on your next to-go-around.
Oh, yeah, it is a bit low. Somewhere around there. Yeah, I wonder if these were used in cabs. You'd probably use a lot of this stuff in a cab. That would have been interesting. One of the other things I wanted to bring up is I'm not sure what the deal is. In Sam's number 4, Sam's CB4, it says Polytronics, Clifton, New Jersey. But on this microphone and on the back of the radio itself, it says Caldwell, New Jersey. So I'm not sure what that's all about. If, maybe one was a business office and the other was some manufacturing, I really don't know. If anybody has that information, that'd be great. Back to you.
All right. Well, there's one for the archives. Polytronics, Clifton or Caldwell, New Jersey. What do you think? Polytronics, Polycom Senior. Yeah, it's still at 27083.8 on the 0 beat. So still looks and sounds pretty darn good. My receiver is white enough, so no problem. All right. I think we've worked it pretty good here on this very long transmission, but that's okay. I don't hear, we tested, did a little on-air test prior to the net, and I know you were having some audio oscillation that I don't hear anymore. So you fixed that, and the radio's holding up well. Over.
Yeah, it's a good thing, too. I'm glad it worked. It was just a simple cleaning. I just cleaned the contacts in the mic and cleaned the the contacts where it plugs in, and that's all I had time to do. But I did that and tested it, and it seemed to work. So I guess it just got a little dusty. And with that, we'll let the channel roll. Thanks for letting me check this thing in here in the backyard base configuration, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks for bringing by one of the rare radios. My guess is they didn't sell a lot of these at that price point. Maybe they did, but it looked like they're built really well. So those that they did sell, especially yours, in very nice condition. Top of the line from Polycom. And Jimmy says he's got the history on Polycom that he will post on the OTR Facebook group tomorrow. Great, thanks so much, because obviously they, on the early 60s, they were definitely a player to top of the line stuff and things that a lot of other companies weren't putting in. And I'd like to read that, because I don't recall any Polycom items on the amateur radio side. I could be very wrong about that, but it's just not a manufacturer that I recall. So see what they were doing that jumped them into the CB radio. I think they might have been more into intercoms and thought, well, this would be a great intercom, as it were. It just happens to be wireless. Radio number 1 from Cliff, the Polytronics Polycom Senior 23. Thanks for bringing it by.
37.
And hello, Chris. Go ahead and pulling things off the table here. I'm going to get you checked in, logged in at, what do we do, 9:29, and come on back and take a transmission over.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll never guess which radio I'm talking on now.
Well, we had a top-of-the-line Polytronics that sold for $350. Now, I'm thinking that in the early 70s, the radio on which you're talking still didn't even come up to that price point, but it was probably close.
Oh, darn it. Oh, well. Anyway, Dennis, I would like to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A.
All right, we will do that. And that's probably why a lot of these manufacturers couldn't hang on when the import radios from Japan and Korea, the Panasonic chassis, started coming in at a lesser price point and solid state and things like that. It just was nobody wanted to pay $500 for radio that they could get for $250, even though the quality could be a bit better. All right, I've got the Super MC11A queued up. Let me bring that on the photo here for anybody's at oldtuberadio.net, or the video, and take a transmission.
Oh, okay. Well, this is it. It seems to be working. I had something else in mind, but I don't like the way it's doing, so I'm going to take that out. I threw a preamp in line, but I kind of lost power out, it seems like. So I'm going to be taking that puppy back off.
You know, sometimes, what do they say? You run what you brung, and I've done that before. You try and dress it up, and it just doesn't like it. From 14 tubes on the Polytronics to 9 tubes, and you can still get a sound like this when you've got the modulator output, the ECLL 800 at 12AX7A, and a whole bunch of 6-volt tubes thrown in there on the right spot. General radio telephone, the last one, I believe that they got type accepted, but again, another good quality radio making it into the 21st century. Take a transmission.
Okay, well, I want you to look at your meter. I am going to take this out loud, and I'm going to give you a holler back in a few, see if it did change anything over.
All right, stand by. Let me get to the S meter cam. All right, take a transmission.
Okay, well, I know it's not swinging up to par like it does normally. So normally I'm swinging way the heck over there, but it just don't have the swing like it normally does over.
All right, looks pretty good. 5 over 9, getting close to 10 over, so it's definitely moving in the right direction over.
But not far enough.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's loud. The audio is good. It's not distorted. That's a big plus. But I guess if you're into the visual, how high does my meter go? Well, maybe there's more.
All right, well, anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes. Just double check it there. For I'm only showing it goes up to like 15, and normally it goes almost to 20. So anyway, I'll be back in a few.
All right, we've got it on the picture here. We'll go back to the meter when you come back here. So thanks for radio number 2, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. They're pointing at me saying that we have to do a few jingle singers to meet our commitment. We will do that, and I just realized I did not populate the pocket protector, and I will do that in just a moment. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
I've noticed the phasing on the jingle singers is going into the negative. I don't know why that is. Is there something with their microphones set up? Do we have the phasing controls? I don't know. I'm just throwing out a generic comment as I look at the REA meter between myself and the jingle singer. So we may have to check some wiring on that. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, real radios glowing in the dark. And, well, I've got the microphone keyed this week on the What's in the Pocket Protector. This is a pretty cool pen. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it with the broken camera. General Electric Supply Company at 204 East Willard Street, 6613 Muncie, Indiana. What was the song about Indiana? It wasn't Muncie, it was Gary. Gary, Indiana. No, this is Muncie, Indiana. Thanks to General Electric Supply Company, and I'll try it. We'll go to the broken camera. And there is, can you see that? You can't see that. There's a liquid. Yeah, see, there's a bubble. See that bubble floating? Oops. So a little bit of, I don't know, probably some toxic oil in there or something, but it's, and it's lasted all these years. So hopefully it won't come spilling out when I put in the pocket protector, but thanks. And now back to the show.
37, trying again.
All right, you're trying again. Let me bring the meter up full screen and do your thing. Over.
Okay, now it's doing like it normally does. Hits that wall over there, and doing 20, 21 on PEP.
Okay, and indeed, it was not quite before reaching the 10 over mark. And now on peaks, it's reaching the 10 over and maybe even 11 over, if you will. So are you able to divulge what it is that you did or did not do for our SWLs who want to have maximum flavor in their audio?
Well, what I did, I added a preamp in line with all the other stuff here, and that was just enough to bring stuff down. I might not have the right length of the coaxes or whatnot. I think I was only using like maybe 3-footers in here doing that way. But anyway, my meter on the radio wasn't going like all the way to the other side like it normally does. And over on the watt meter, it was only going up to maybe 15, where on here normally it does 20, 21 right in there on the PEP.
All right, well, you have a good eye, because that's exactly what was happening. It was losing a few watts on the PEP side, and it was, I'm sure I would have never noticed it. I don't know if I would have heard it, but when we look closely on the meter, definitely it goes back over up to 10 over. So that's a good portent of keeping it simple. The more things in line, the more things that can go wrong between jumpers and things grabbing a little bit of extra RF here and there, bad connectors, loose connectors, you name it. So I think you've got it back to the way you like it.
Yeah. Well, I'm so used to this radio, I know where the needle's supposed to be at when I get down, even on the radio and on the meters and stuff here. So, that's what you call a good operator when he notices it himself before anybody else does.
Indeed. And I still think you probably have some original tubes or some good tubes in that Super MC11A, because it's got good clear audio. You can really drive it without getting much distortion or any distortion at all, and probably comparative. And we have a couple of MC11As in town. It seems to play well. So don't be wanting to swap tubes out if you don't need. I think you've got some really good classic tubes that are all set up for that audio, sounding good, and looking good for radio number 2.
Okay, and I believe that they are still the original tubes. From when I had them apart before, they all said General Radio on them, so they had their own tube. Whoever made them for them.
Yeah, Greg Superloop has been doing a nice little series over at the Old Tube CB Radio Network page on tubes and tube rolling and how the tubes are put together and grid spacing and things of that nature that can affect, is that the right word, effect your gain and your audio depending on what it is that you want to do. Or you want to get audio gain, do you want to get receiver gain? There is probably a perfect tube for you, and I definitely think you have them in that radio. So thanks for bringing them by.
Thank you, Des. And I'm going to I got another one over there, just turned it on and get it warmed up. Of course, it's got that standby switch, so it makes it nice so I can key up still. So anyway, thank you, Des, for being there. And after having to get warmed up, I will check it in and see what we can do with it. So talk to you in a few.
All right, we'll be listening. Seems like the band is clearing up a little bit from the skip land, so we're out there and trying to check in before. We're still going to be around, so give it a shot. We will be listening. The Jingle Singers are still around. I think there are some treats. If they don't like what's in the green room, they can always go up into the balcony. There is various flavors of popcorn and everything else. So, I mean, they should never be wanting here at the Old Tube Radio Network.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
And as Cornbread would say, did someone say Fresno? We're listening for Radio 3.
37.
Oh, and he is back. Hello, Radio.
Hello, Dennis. We would like to try to check this radio in this time.
All right, I am ready to flip through the Rolodex. What do you have there? Over.
Well, Dennis, I'm going to check in right now my Chris 23 Plus CB transceiver, 23 channel tuber that glows in the dark, and we are running this here with the original handheld stock microphone. Over.
Stock audio is often good and does work well. The 23 Plus. Some may recognize the features of that as the Panasonic second generation Panasonic chassis minus a lot of the flair that was put into the Robins and perhaps the T-Berries and some other ones. But I do believe if you take the top off, you are going to see that same inside that makes it sound so good. Take a transmission.
Yeah, well, one of these days, once I get my my other radio up, my what is it? The oh gosh, I can't think of it. The blue radio. I can't think of the name of it. It's out there in the garage. I gotta get the microphone fixed for it. But as soon as that one gets fixed, the microphone. I will be checking that one back in, for that's one of my other favorites, you know. Actually, they're all my favorites, but you know how that goes.
All right, well, we'll be here to listen for it, and does it do sideband?
Nah, it's Jim Marine Products is one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was just about to to mention, I think it's the Gem Marine products. So, yeah, we'll be looking forward to that one. In the meantime, this one does have a little bit of a blue stripe. It's got some good sounding transmit audio. Selectable S-meter RF. It doesn't have the range boost built in, and at least they gave you one light on there for the modulation.
Yes, I do have the light there, and it's blinking red when I am talking right now, so it is doing what it's supposed to be doing there. Over.
Yeah, transmitting on a Saturday evening, heating up the room, although we don't need heat in today's weather, and sounding good. Giving us a radio number 3 on the old Tube Radio Network.
Okay, I just let you know there's times when you are speaking, you hit a certain note and you will make my little red light flicker a little bit. Over.
Oh, that modulation light. So if I do a 6-7 or a sizzling sausage or an orange furniture or boom, 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 sometimes I can get the mod light to go, right?
Every word you said there, right at the peaks.
All right, that's pretty good, even with all sorts of compression. Sounding good. We'll put this down as radio number 3. Chris on the Chris 23 Plus. Sounding good.
And I do thank you. This is it for me tonight. The only other thing I do is check in a Kenwood, but there's no tubes. But anyway, Dennis, thank you for being there. Now, we will be kind of listening on the side. Over.
Indeed. All right. And Joel said he thought that Chris was akin to the Robin. Yeah, the Robin T123B, same thing pretty much inside as the radio we just heard here, the Chris 23 Plus. On the front side, of course, the Robin has a few more controls, but I think transmit side, I'm not sure about receiver, pretty much the same radio inside, like a deluxe model. It's like buying a. Do you buy the Ford Fairlane or the Mercury Comet or the Falcon? You know, it's the same thing. Do you buy the Chevy or do you buy the Buick? And it's like, well, it's a General Motors, and maybe they added you've got 2 headlights and you got 4 headlights, but sounds like the same car. I think I hear Harvey coming back, so we might have a Harvey signing coming up. I want to say hello to Greg Superloop. Greg, we were talking about you. You must have heard us. We're talking about your tube, talking about the tubes and what makes a tube good for audio, makes a tube good for receiving, gain. And we were talking with Chris on how he's got that one General Radio Telephone Super MC11A that just seems to be better than most that check in. So we're thinking his 12AX7, the ECLA 800, they're the original tubes, we think. So whoever picked the tubes back in the 70s put in the right ones, and they're still working. Speaking about still working, we are listening for radio number 4.
Break OTR.
Ask and ye shall receive the Break OTR. I'll bring up the SWL list, and we'll also grab your radio before you go. I've got an X in the square for 50. Hopefully you can hear me. I think the skip has sort of gone away.
Yeah, it's a little ugly up here. 50 checking in, and I might as well be radio number 4 here. Golden Eagle Mark III sideband with stock mic.
All right, Golden Eagle Mark III with the SSB, always sounding good on our old tube radio network. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, no worries. I got 9+ pounds of garbage up here, so kind of hard to pull you out.
Okay, anyway, you are doing good. You've got 9+ pounds, and it's all you. So looking good here in Midtown, in the mud ducks of Midtown Fresno. Thanks for stopping by.
Break OTR.
The break for OTR, go ahead.
This is SWL40. I'd like to check in a old tube radio.
All right, this is the place to be if you want to check in an old tube radio. Also, probably check in yourself. You've made it out of the basement.
Yes, I escaped the coolness. Hang on a second, I'm tied up.
Uh-oh, is this the tied up frequency? Well, in the meantime, while you're getting yourself untied, I'm trying to keep the Charlie Alpha Tango from falling off my lap here. I will get you checked in on the SWL side.
Okay. All right. I'm successfully untied. And okay, so I got this radio here. Are you ready to receive the radio information?
I am ready to copy your information over.
Okay, what I've got here is a Gemtronics GTX 5000 40 channel CB transceiver.
All right, I don't have the greatest picture, but speaking of Panasonic chassis, I think we're back to the Panasonic chassis. The GTX 5000 should be the clone of the 40-channel unit. So I'm going to guess that is a 40-channel item?
Yes, it is 40 channels. Well, when you know it, it is a hybrid of old technology and the new LED technology.
Now, I see. I think because I'm looking at the channel, the radio appears to be in the off mode that we're showing. I'm looking at the channel selector. I see nothing there. So obviously you don't get a display until you turn it on, and those little LEDs light up.
Right. And I believe my meter indicator, my meter light is out because the meter is dark.
I should be home in time to check the radio and my son.
All right, are you having to wrap on the radio to make it work?
Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to do.
All right, I copy, so we'll catch you on the inside, KB6GFD.
The wrapping is having no effect. So, yeah. But at least the meter works. The needle. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah. The meter is working. Oh, by the way, fun fact. Nearby at the Chancey Stadium, Leonard Skinner is playing live.
All right, so you're telling me Leonard Skinner, you know, the L-Y-N-Y-R-D, you know how that's funny spelling. Leonard Skinner, is it just a group called Leonard Skinner, or is it actually like the Leonard Skinner? And they're in Fresno, and they're just down the street?
Yeah, apparently, I guess that they went to the graveyard and brought all the band members back to life, and there they are.
Now, what makes you say this? Are you hearing such music or something, or do you have a ticket?
Well, I'm hearing music. I am hearing music, and apparently it's Leonard Skinner, but I don't know. It could be one of those tribute bands or something. I'm not sure, but they're playing it at the stadium, so yeah, it must be.
Yes, indeed. May 14th at Fresno Chancey Park. Skinnerd Nation, it says, and I don't see what ticket prices are, but if they're in Fresno and Chancey Park, it's probably a deal.
Yeah. So we're getting we're hearing them live, although it's very muffled. Can't really tell what song they're playing.
And you know what? Maybe they wouldn't tell either. All right, looks like tickets are about $34 or in the $30 range all across the U.S. They're heading to Tampa. They're heading to Wonton, New York, Allentown, Pennsylvania. They're heading to New Hampshire, and Concord coming up. So, yeah, if you got $40, you're in. All right, before you go, a couple of people questioning, and I have the same question on what mic you're using on the Gemtronics. It has a kind of an interesting flavor to it.
For those playing the home game, the microphone is a Turner Plus 3 bass microphone.
Okay, and how far are you away from the Element?
Right now I am about, I would say about 7 inches away.
Okay, sounds like you are farther away than that. So there is no, on the Gemtronics, there's no front panel range expand like they put on some of the other ones. So I think that microphone probably works well. All right, and you got 3 thumbs up from one of our SWLs. They like that microphone. They like the radio. So very good. You are Radio 5 on the Gemtronics GTX 5000, and I'm glad you got a chance to come up from the smoke below.
Yeah, and I could turn up the mic gain just halfway, and then that looks like it's too much. Yeah. It could be the battery. Maybe the battery is low inside underneath the microphone.
Now, I think your battery is good. When you turn it up, it just, sounded awful, like it should. With, as you can see, all you saw was noise, and you didn't have to talk. So it's doing okay. It's just weird. Sounds like the Element is farther away, but it has nice, loud audio, and it is doing what it's supposed to do.
Okie dokie. All right. Yeah, I'm probably going to go back to the basement to continue the experiments.
Okay, and for our SWLs on the, I think you said the plus 3, where is the mic gain clockwise? Are you at 9 o'clock?
Right now it's at 12.
Oh, at 12. All right, go to 9 o'clock. Someone suggested the 9 o'clock position.
Okay, there is 9 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, if you do that, you definitely have to get closer to the microphone, I think. That helps with some of the noise, but it's not as, it needs a little more audio.
Yeah, I'd probably have to get up close. Now this is right on the microphone.
Okay, interesting. It has a different flavor altogether. So, you know what? I would say you are probably good to go with your 12 o'clock and about where you were before, just for generic goodness. However, that 9 and closer works as well. But I think for just the way I was listening to you, and for comfortability, if that's even a word, the 12 and whatever you're doing is working.
Okay, yeah, it's been a long while since I've checked the battery, so it's probably due for a change. All right, yes, and the radio is now hot enough to fry eggs.
Oh, all right. Someone mentioned that those cabinets do get hot. Yeah, you could check out the battery. That could be. All right, thanks for your check-in. And the jingle singers, where are those doggone jingle singers? They're right here. We'll be back in just a moment.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
The Old Tube Radio Network, 27085 Central California. On the air most Saturdays from like today and back all the way to 1985. Thanks to you and your radios, the shortwave listeners, of course, joining along with all of us in waiting for the next radio.
How about the next radio from the Radio Lounge?
One of the many radio lounges around our area, and a good one it is. So I'll get you checked in, and then we'll see what's going on the radio table. Over.
Thank you. And yes, you're going to have to excuse my late tardiness here, but greetings to all from the radio lounge. This is SWL 47. With unlike the previous radio that there were a lot of fun adjustments going on, you're not going to be really adjusting much of anything on this guy unless you open the cage up. This is my Robin T123.
All right, we'll go with the bird. We'll find the Tango 1, 2, 3. Throw in a photo, mix in some Audi Type O, and go back to you for a transmission. Over.
Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to check this in. I've always appreciated this radio, especially at this time of night, because you don't have to get really aggressive with how you speak into it. Really the only indication of the audio I have putting into this radio right now is the Magic Eye tube, which was of course a major selling point for me on this particular radio. I think it's a 6RE13 unless I'm mistaken, which is a vertically mounted Magic Eye tube. The more you yap into it, again like I'm doing right now, the more the light kind of illuminates coming from the top down and from the bottom up. The more you open your mouth, the more it seems to close its mouth. So it seems to be working reasonably well right now, especially with this amplified D104, which is yes, it is the only amplified mic I have online right now with any of my, or in line with any of my radios that I use these days. But anyways, I like to use it at this hour at night because I don't have to scream into it to get a signal out.
No, you don't. Actually, you complement your voice very well. Sounds like you're nice and relaxed, so cool, calm, and collected as you watch the... and why don't more radios have the Magic Eye tube to let their operator enjoy the fun of trying to... It's almost like a little video game as you talk, trying to get those, modulate just perfectly so you can get them to just touch.
Yeah, well, again, I'm far from being an expert. But I think I remember reading at some point in time that Magic Eye tubes were cheaper to manufacture than a normal needle type meter, which is kind of illogical because this particular radio has both a regular needle meter and this thing too. But I couldn't tell you why they incorporated both these things. The only thing I can say is it's a really interesting technology. I think it was Cliff that had pointed out at one point in time that there are also Nixie tubes out there that are kind of cool that have been used in some radios. You can get a Nixie tube wristwatch, which are very, very, very cool. But yeah, I definitely recommend if there's anyone that's interested in Magic Eye tubes, you can Google them and. Unlike, in addition to this guy, and the 6RE13 and the 6ME5, I think, is the one that's used on the Gonzo radios. There are a bunch of other ones out there, and it's really interesting. I mean, there's one that illuminates kind of like peacock tail feathers. It's really, really interesting.
Yes, it is. For anybody watching the video, here is, I've got a picture of the tube that's actually in that radio, and it stands upright in the base. And if you look at the front of the tube, you see the two illuminations, if you will, top and bottom. Top of the tube, bottom of the tube. And so they sit that in front of the radio, and then they cut a little hole just so that the tube face sticks out so you can see the two elements, or the element there, the two top and bottom illuminations, and there you go. And as you get the proper, I guess, gain and voltage, then let's go over to the radio, which should be here, and there you go. So that's a little tube standing up behind that rectangular hole in the cabinet. Lets you, I mean, there's many ways you could have it for tuning. They could have given you another one. Well, that would have been confusing. And so, and put in a VFO receive, and as you tuned in the signal to the strongest, the two little lights would come together. So lots of good stuff there. Anyway, it sounds good. It is our radio number 6, and as always, it seems to be flawless.
Oh, thank you. And that's the first time I've heard you describe this Magic Eye tube in that particular fashion. And I think you're absolutely right. I think just about the only comment I can say that I've never even mentioned about this is quite some time ago when I wasn't so lazy, I used to take this out on the radio patio, and I'd eat dinner out there, and it was low light, and often I'd have my plate of food in front of the radio, and the more you would yap into this, it almost looked like the Magic Eye tube was, like a hungry mouth, opening and closing, and it was just funny with the food in front of there. And it always, in the back of my mind, it always made me think of for anyone that's been to the Enchanted Tiki Room at Disneyland, they have some little carved figurines in the back walls that at one point in time in the show, and they open their mouths and close their mouths. And frequently, at least when I look at this particular Magic Eye tube, it always makes me think of those mouths in the Tiki Room. But there it is, not from Disneyland, but from the Radio Lounge, a Robin T123.
All right, thank you for the T123 in the Radio Lounge. And yeah, why didn't Browning put in a Magic Eye tube, at least for the receiver or whatever? But Robin did, and glad you brought it by. It's our Magic Eye tube tonight. All right, I'm going to maybe go to the Jingle Singers here. I think Harvey is going to try and get in with the radio, at least to check in. It is a couple minutes after the top of the hour, so we'll drag our feet just a bit before we sign out. I know stations are staying up late. Charlie Alpha Tango is is ready to crash out somewhere, but doing pretty good right now. So over to the Jingle Singers, and you are listening to your Old Tube Radio Network Saturday night place to be. All right. Well, they're not listening to me. Oh, okay. Now they are. I think they're demanding better. They're like the cat. They're demanding better treats in the green room. Here we go.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
Counting and amounting and listening for Radio 7.
How about this one?
That one will work. It has a nice little key up to it.
Alrighty. This is number 20. Just check me in that way, and 29 and 54, I guess. And this particular radio, if you would, sir.
All right, I have a feeling it's from Browning Laboratories or something like it. What's the model number? And I'll get it officially on the list.
Okay, this is a S9 transmitter, R2700A receiver. Both bought separate, about 5 years apart. And after 3 years of on and off fooling around with the transmitter, it was something, I guess, a technician would say, oh, simple, look, right there. Anyway, transmitter's working. By the way, I do have the modulator on. Anyway,
nice story behind this transmitter, a little bit on the receiver, but the transmitter is kind of funny there. Transmitter has the original microphone setup where it's wired in, comes out the back, left rear chassis around the front. Now it's a gray cord, so I don't know if it's originally supposed to be brown, but it's approximately 7 feet long. And the microphone is a banana mic with a fairly decent cartridge. It is, though, the gray Electro Voice microphone, which I can easily swap out for the Browning colors, because I have several of those that I buy when the guy says, I think it's dead, or just the shell. I buy good shells, and then you put them on these. Anyway, the banana mic with about a 7-foot cord, and the Vox actually works on it.
Well, all right. Vox. I was comparing these to, this is 6162, but we had the Polytronics on, and those for 6263, $350 radio. And it definitely seems like they were definitely more sophisticated, at least, you know, on the engineering than the Browning. And not that they may have sounded any better, but, you know, the Browning was still this transmitter, receiver, and lights and dials, and it's like they were trying to figure it out. So, I don't know, just a comparison as Browning sort of took command of everything. What are we looking at? We're looking at the S9 transmitter, which was actually kind of, it's very functional, but very, very plain.
Oh, yeah. Kind of plain, but it works quite well. I think the audio's okay. Modulation meter isn't moving as much as I would like, but if it's a bad meter, I can always replace it. I do have several for this model. Anyway, Polytronics, yes, they did make amateur gear. I believe I saw a 6-meter, and I'm not sure if it was a 2-meter, but a 6-meter and possibly a 10. I'm not sure about that, but at least a 6-meter. I've seen a couple of them listed on eBay. I go, oh, Polytronics. I look at it, and I go, no, those are ham radios. But, you know, anyway, but they kind of look like the Polycom N9 or N8s and 12s with that channel set up, that kind of configuration in front, set up with the speaker and this and that and the other. Doesn't look like the Polytronics Senior 23 or the 23 or the Pro. Not at all. But the amateur gear does look like the older ones. Anyway, I've got one more to check in.
All right, very good. And I believe Jimmy's going to be posting something on probably at least the Old Tube CB Radio Network and maybe some of the other Facebook pages. He's got some info on Polytronics, and so that might solve our mysteries, create a few more, but I'm looking forward to reading that, and we'll find out more about it. All right, counting and amounting here, and we'll keep the door open for one or two more check-ins before we head out the Old Tube Radio Network. Who's the break? OTR, over.
You got Sean and Sanger checking in on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV and the Silver Eagle microphone.
All right, hopefully you can hear me out there in Sanger. I got a cat falling off of me here. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. And sounding good in Sanger. Now, was it true that did you actually SWL'd Motormouth Mall on Channel 6 beaconing in on the backscatter this afternoon?
Yeah, absolutely. He was coming in loud and clear. It was quite a treat to hear his fine audio coming through my Cobra 2000.
Yeah, I heard him on the last cycle. Right in the top on Channel 28 coming in. You could hear both sides of the conversation. Just weird, but sometimes it was more like backscatter. So he has, I haven't caught him on 40 meters yet, but he has sort of said that he might try and make an appearance here on the Old Tube Radio Network. So we'll be looking forward to that, because it appears that it can basically happen. Sean, you are Radio 8, and you are on the Golden Eagle Mark IV, which you also, I should say, interestingly enough, give a drive down on the Ditch Bank's sideband net. So I imagine it might be a little trickier to get it on sideband, but it works well AM or sideband over.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to tune the receive on the sideband. It's real easy to get it here on the AM, but the sideband, like I said before, if you just blow on it, you're off frequency. You got to sit there on the band spread, finally adjust it, and it's a real tricky thing to get.
Yeah, and like we found out, the Mark IV doesn't have the nifty little, I'll call it a VFO, but I'm sure the FCC wouldn't, or Browning wouldn't want us to call it that. The way to tune the crystal, if you will, on sideband, so it makes it easy to kind of match the transmitter to where everybody else is receiving you. Got a shot of the Mark IV. Definitely a bit of difference between the Mark III, Mark II style. Maybe a bit more modern, but still classic with the nice knobs and I like the front grill panel. They still kept the nice big meters, and they definitely kept the great audio over.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture. You know, the receiver looks ancient, and then the transmitter, has LEDs in it, so it's kind of a little bit modern. But yeah, it has a button that you press. It's called Spot, and that's how you tune the transmitter and the receiver together. But I found it doesn't work on sideband, so it's very difficult to find it on the receiver with the sideband.
Wow. Now I wonder if that's just because it's sideband and it's going to the circuit, and it's like, okay, I'm going to throw the carrier and be like just keying the microphone, but it's like, oops, it's on sideband. So I don't know if there's a way to, how would you do that? You'd have to enter audio. I don't know. Maybe can you whistle or talk in the microphone when your spot switches on? Maybe it would generate enough carrier to at least give you some heterodyne.
I don't know. That's a good idea. I may have to try that. Like I said, it's real tricky, and that would make it a lot easier. Because like Harvey showed me, you press that spot button, then you turn the receiver knob, and you get the highest meter reading with your needle, and that's how you know your receiver is right on frequency where you're transmitting.
Right, because it's inserting just a little carrier in there. So I'm just thinking like you'd still be able to zero beat that thing somehow. That's interesting. I was looking to see. Let me click on ltuberadio.com to see if there's a manual. No, obviously sometimes we have schematics and manuals and things listed online, but I don't see it. 1977 is the year. I'm not sure how many. They didn't produce them too long, and I think at that time Browning started farming some of the production out to somebody else. But the last of the great Brownings right here, the Mark IV, and we were talking about prices. So if in 1962 a $360 radio and $1962 was expensive, in 1977 $895, $900 was definitely expensive. As I mentioned before, it's either you could probably buy a used car for that, or a really nice color console television, Or, as we all would like, is you could get yourself a brand new Mark IV. Take another transmission, and glad you stopped by the Old Tube Radio Network.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I didn't realize that this radio, that was your only real communication there, mobile, with people moving around. So it kind of makes sense that they were real pricey back then. But yeah, I appreciate you letting me check in, Dennis. Everybody out there, have a good evening on the OTR.
All right, that is why we are here, and that's why we have been here for ever so long, because people like yourself will take some time out of what they're supposed to be doing on a Saturday evening and jump in the Radio Shack and share the classic radios. Thanks, and we are counting and amounting.
Oops. Gotta turn things down. Is that better, Dennis?
No difference.
Oh, am I feeding back?
No, you have never been feeding back on that radio.
Okay, the Browning Golden Beagle R68T68 by Browning Laboratories. Custom D104. Okay, that should do it. And then maybe a little story behind the X9 transmitter that it took me about 3.5, 4 years to fix. Okay, when it should have taken me 15 minutes. Okay, back to you.
Okay, it wasn't one of those supply things, was it?
No, I mean, once it went bad, it started arcing at a certain spot. And I should have just followed the voltage and figured it out right then and there, and I would have found the problem. I think about a week or so ago, I had it here in the room and said, well, I'll take a look at it. And then went, oh, okay, let's check this out. And sure enough, that's what it was. It took me 15 minutes once I actually took a good look at it. Okay, not that I'm really good at it, it's just I got lucky with it. I just kind of went, oh, look at this. There you go. Anyway, it works real well. And I got a tiny bit of work to do on the receiver. And then, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. We'll have to see. I want to keep it because it's got the banana mic wired in the back, the way it should be. The one I actually talk on now and then, somebody drilled a hole in the front, put the mic plug in there, did a fairly good job, and works just fine. But this was original, so, thinking about keeping it, but maybe not. Okay, back to you, sir.
All right, back to me in the studio, and we are definitely in the studio getting ready to shut things down. Thanks for Radio 9 on the Browning. Sounding good. Glad you made it back safe and sound from the salt mines, and hopefully they'll give you the day off next week.
Yeah, talk about the salt mines. My doctor says I have to cut down on my salt intake.
Oh, that would be a great way to do it.
Well, getting closer and closer. Okay, we'll catch you next week.
All right, you and me both. We'll see if that ever happens, though. All right, anybody else for the Old Tube Radio Network before we try and get out of here?
How about a quickie, number 10? How about Radio 10 there, Dennis?
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, let's make it an even double digits, and then we'll skittle out of here. Go ahead, sir.
I appreciate it. I want to check in from World Radio Labs, my hustler, on the original stock mic.
All right, I've got a shot of the World Radio Labs Hustler. Let me put that on the screen-orama here If I can figure out where it would be, it would be right there. It's such a great, for video-wise, I mean, it sounds good on the audio, but for those of us who've got the video portions here, I just can't pass putting that World Radio Labs Leo Meyerson, who got into the Class D radio service and did it right. Give us a transmission.
Thank you much, Aaron. Yeah, Dennis, we have 7 tubes and one more channel, then we got tubes, 8 channels. And doggone it, like I said, we are on the original stock mic, and we wanted to run it this evening with the stock mic to get the general idea of how it sounds.
All right, sounds good. You probably have to get just a bit closer, if you can, to bring the audio up. But it's very, it's very intelligible. Just need a little bit more oomph on that audio.
Well, she might have a little dust in it. It's been quite a few years. I may have to take the old brush to the grill on the mic there and kind of take the old lint and dust off it.
Sometimes that's the way it is, but it's doing a good job from where you're at. Squelch volume channel tuning, 8-channel crystal control. The tuning will get you anywhere you want. I see a spotter, but I don't see... Okay, there it is, spotter on-off. So like Sean was talking about, you've got to, when you've got that separate transmit and receive thing and trying to match your crystal, you got to get the light to come on or get the tone to come on to spot things up. So you've done well.
Well, we appreciate that. I turned this other little thing on to see if it would help the modulation, not the carrier, but the modulation.
Actually, it did. It did help the modulation. Over.
Oh, great. Then I can use it on this too. Yeah, I was worried about that. I don't necessarily want to be using a power mic on it. I'd like to keep it original, and I guess it helped out. Yeah, the spotter is in off position, and it's a good little radio, Dennis.
All right, lost the picture there. There we're at. It's definitely a good little radio and a rare one to boot. And all the time that we've been doing the old Tube Radio Network, I am pretty safe to say that you are, being the hustler, yes, you are the only station to check in. We've checked in a lot of the Globe radios. Rob SWL3 had a very extensive collection of World Radio Lab Globes, but I don't think he ever had a hustler. If I ever see him again, when I talk to him, I'll ask him. But I really think you have the one and only that we've checked in the last 35 years. So coolness indeed. Back to you for transmission, and thanks for giving us Radio 10 and a way to sign out here.
Well, thank you for that information. And, of course, we've got Harvey to thank for that. He thought of me when he came across the radio. So good deal. And we'll continue checking it in. Good evening to you there, Dennis.
All right, good evening, hello radio. I just spied that 78 Richard is online, so Rich will get you checked in on the SWL side. Thanks for jumping in here and joining us on the old Tube Radio Network. I'm waiting for the fanfare. That's a way that I can say it is time to go. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the Current OTR Totals.
All right, the current and final totals. Let me get my paperwork ready to go here and see what I can tell you. On the SWL side, we had 61 tonight. Not bad. I was thinking maybe nobody would show up tonight. It's such a nice evening outside. The pool is open here at the old Tube Radio Net Control. All sorts of stuff to take place, but we have monitors and the sound is up, so we can always listen in to the old Tube Radio Network wherever we are. 14 check-ins on page 1, 15 on page 2, 15 on page 3, and 17 on page 4 for a total of 61. I'd make that 62 because I didn't get Rich in there, so we got 62 total. 10 10 radios tonight, and I think the Brownings were the most heard manufacturer, but what we did hear, of course, at the beginning, the Polytronics Polycom Senior 23, looking forward to an update on all things Polytronics, a little bit of history coming up. Jimmy will be putting that online on the probably the Old Tube CB Radio Network Facebook page and others. We'll find out more about what Polycom did and why they did it. Chris came by Radio 2 and 3, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A and the Chris 23 Plus. Always sounding good. Radio number 4 tonight, Mark up in O'Neill's on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, picking me up through all the noise. Radio number 5, Larry on the Gemtronics GTX 5000. I was going to say that was our only 40-channel radio, but no, we did have another one. Mike was on the Robin T123, Magic Eye winking and blinking, sounding good for Radio 6. Radio 7, Harvey on the Browning S9 2700A. That might have been our oldest radio of the evening, a little even older than the Polytronics. Out at Sanger, Sean on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV. You don't hear many of them, but I know there are a lot of them around, and I just don't know if they're hard to keep running. Obviously, Sean's it sounds good. It runs AM, it runs sideband. A classic radio and a very expensive radio in the day. You had to be really into CB to trade up from your Mark III to the Mark IV. Radio number 9, Harvey on the Browning Laboratories T68, the transmitter receiver prior to the Mark II, and the World, a fan favorite, the World Radio Labs Hustler, nice blue, and with the stock standard microphonium that has all the flavor you would ever need. Sounds pretty darn good. No reason to add anything else if you don't want to. The Old Tube Radio Net, real radios glowing in the dark. Thanks everybody for joining us. My name is Dennis. Charlie Alpha Tango is here, and he is totally conked out. So he is an old cat on the lap of the old net controller. So maybe we're both going to have, or at least one of us is going to have some Ovaltine and probably be heading to bed. Thanks everybody. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com for the Nixie tubes, and all of you for joining us and tuning in your radios. If you find yourself in front of any radio the next week, get on the air. It doesn't have to be too fancy. Get on the air or make a call. Get on the radio. If you're studying for your ham radio license upgrade or the new ticket, keep doing that. I know they're going to be changing the question pool coming up, so if you can get your test taken soon, you should be good to go, and we will catch you on one of the ham bands. Cycle 25 is looking good and doing well, so no matter where you go, you should be able to make some contacts on less than 100 watts and a wire. Good night, everybody, for the Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night, Dennis.
You remind me of that bee, the little bee that used to sign off Channel 24. Where you used to say, good night.
Yeah, and then the old TV went blank.
Yeah, the bee would take off his little cap, and he would put the K and J letters, and they'd have the little noise, little xylophone, and then he'd jump into the bed. That animation was created by the Walt Disney Company, specifically for McClatchy.
Definitely priceless.
You're an old-time Fresnan if you remember what that's all about and actually stayed up and watched it sign off.
We didn't miss very many nights there, Dennis, to watch that bee sign off like that, and hey, TV was off.
Back when it was fun, just like we try to do in the Old Tube Radio Network, when things signed off and there was something to look forward to, and even if you'd seen it 100 times, you got to watch that bee. So there you go. I think that's what we try to grab here on OTR. Just something that's familiar and is fun. All right, good night, everybody. We'll catch you next week. Okay, and I am not going to stay in the air chair here too long, because I need to get this cat to bed, this old cat. Let's see, let's try, just we can, see if anything's happening on 20 meters. Got a lot of FT8 going on. There's somebody. Somebody was in there. 14,236. Not very loud, though. Let's see, 40 meters.
So hopefully the band will hold up for a few minutes for us. KC2QYM, WB9MXX.
Ah, yeah. Midwest coming through, the band is definitely long.
CAR, you're a 5'9" with 24 roses of flowers in Arizona, sir.
Thank you very much. You're also 5'9" here in Central Texas. 5'9" both ways.
Copy 5'9" both ways, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great night. Thank you for taking the call. Let's jump over to Kilo 5, Papa Alpha Romeo. Kilo 5, Papa Alpha Romeo. Whiskey Bravo 6, Mike Kill Juliet.
All right, 7185 on the net there. All the Texas kilowatts.
The Mosley acquisition, if I don't talk to you before then. And
little phase distortion.
We're going to hook up on 15 and 10 one of these days.
On 7190.
WOB, the voice of Cornwall, KG8YA at Ohio.
Wow, so the band is long.
The QRZ and LOTW, does that work for you?
Listen to the phasing on all the signals. So there you go. All right, talk to you all later on your old tuber radio network.
Hang on a second, I got some QRM. Let me see if I can get some filters going on. Go ahead.
UTC time. Will that work?
I think you're giving me a signal report. I got you at about...
And Cornbread, after that fateful day, I am staying far away from the pool. But they may have some other nefarious deeds for me. I don't know. That's why I stay here in the air chair. Good night, everybody, from your old tube radio network.
Yeah, I got you at 55.
Top time on England. I just can't hear any England stations at all, and I'm following on, on QRZ and looking at the reported, but I just can't hear anything from England for some reason, and it could be, the position of the antenna. I got pretty good reception in the United States and Australia and even Brazil and Chile. We worked quite a few Chilean stations, but England seems like a no-go zone here at Whiskey November Delta. Go ahead.
And to do it here at AAA.
Stan, then I don't think American people have a stomach full for trying to do that kind of thing.